Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a brand new video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amelia and I upload content such as reading vlogs, reading wrap-ups, and when I go on holiday, travel vlogs, which is very rare. Before we get into this, if you do enjoy content such as reading vlogs, reading wrap-ups and the occasional travel vlog, then please give this video a thumbs up, please comment down below, please subscribe, and please follow my social medias that are linked in the description and should pop up somewhere here. And without further ado, let's just get on with this video. If you haven't read the title of this video, I am giving you my tips, tricks and recommendations and not recommendations for New York. I literally got back from New York yesterday morning when I'm filming this. When you're seeing this, it's a few weeks ago, but I got back yesterday morning when I'm filming this. I'm going to start with my tips. I wouldn't say tricks, I'd say tips. I'll say tips and tricks, we'll call it that, for New York. But it does also vary on when you're going, because if you're going in the winter, some of the things I'm going to suggest probably not going to apply as much, because it's going to be cold. I say some of the things, I think one main things. Okay, so let's start with tips and tricks. I don't have a certain amount of numbers of them because I don't know, I'm doing this off the top of my head. I didn't write these down. I wrote down recommendations and not recommendations, but I didn't write this down. So we're going to go off the top of my head. But first of all, main big thing I'm going to suggest, because we went in summer and when I say it was hot, oh my god, it was incredibly hot. Like, it was so hot. Like, we were sweating, it was just a lot. And on the first night we went out with no fans, nothing, and it was at night time. We thought, oh, it'd be fine. We literally landed and we were like, but you could feel the heat as soon as you landed. It was like, oh my god. It's like when we landed in the UK, you could feel the coolness yesterday. Yeah, it was hot. So another thing I would recommend is fans, like handheld fans like this. These work wonders, honestly, whilst you're out there. On last Sunday, we went to Central Park and oh my god, we were like hot as anything. These really helped. It just helps you cool down slightly and it powers you through, because New York does have a lot of walking. It can have a lot of walking, I would say. It depends on what you decide to do, because by the end of the week, as the week was going on, and I will get to this, we did a little bit less walking than we did at the beginning of the week. But we had planned in our head when we were planning the trip, we were going to do a lot of walking, so these come in very handy. And I got this one from Shein, but you can also get this off TikTok Shop, and it literally has like 5 settings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's so handy, like it's so powerful, and then it tells you how much charge you've got left. So this was charged, I think, on Thursday or Friday, I think, 69% left, and then it turns off. These are very handy because it does actually help you just get through. It's obviously not going to take away the fact that it's hot, but it is going to like give you, it's the same way if you have an indoor fan when it's hot, it helps just cool you down a little bit, and get you through. Also, we did fine, because if you're like us and going out, specifically when you're on holiday, you're going to places and you want to take photos, if you have an iPhone in the heat, they do tend to get very hot very quickly. When it's already hot, your phone is out and then you're taking photos as well. It sounds really silly, but placing this on top of your phone for like half an hour can really help cool it down. Obviously, the other things you could do is either turn it off and leave it in your bag, or just leave it in your bag for a good period of time. And again, that will cool it down. But if you're like having it held out, this is very handy. So that's one tip. The next tip I would say is have someone who can read maps. Now, it sounds really silly, because you should all be able to read the Google Map, the maps on your phone. Don't get me wrong, I can somewhat understand it, but I'm not the best. And when my friend watches this, she will definitely say you're not the best. She was the most handiest person. She literally had all the directions. She knew where to go, and you just got that. And she was, I just say, someone, as long as, I wouldn't say designate it, like if you both are good at reading maps and you understand it, great. Then both of each other help each other out with that. But maps is your best friend, because it just helps. And also, I would suggest don't just look at it when you're leaving the hotel to go somewhere, or you're leaving one venue to go to another. Kind of do it before you leave, just get an idea of where things are from where, so you kind of have a rough idea of where you're going. But then obviously still you can look at it when you're going. But like if you get an idea like over the night before you're leaving to go to a certain place, or you look in the morning, you have this idea of where you've got to go. So then you go, okay, this is where we've got to go. You don't get that from just looking. You have to like, it takes time out of your travel if you're on your journey to where you're going. If you're like leaving the hotel and go, okay, now I need to get maps up. It's very handy to look at the night before. We did plan each night, like the night before, okay, roughly where we got to go, how we got to get there, how long it's going to take to get to the place, because it kind of helped us plan when we needed to leave certain places to get to the other place. So when you got like bookings, so for example on, let me get the day right, Monday we did a city cruise line around like Manhattan and past the Statue of Liberty, and you got to see like loads of different things. We had a certain time to be there for, so we planned out when we were going to get to the area where that was, so that we would be there ready. And then we had a bit of time, and we planned when we were leaving our lunch place to go to the 9/11 memorial and get there. So that's very handy. Another thing I would say, a tip and trick kind of leading on to this, is plan in advance. Plan way before your trip to New York. New York is hectic. New York offers you so much. Like, I'm not saying you have to pay for it in advance. We did, because we were like, if we pay for it in advance, then what we need to do is have spending money for things we want to buy and for food. We don't need to worry about having money to do the activities as well, because that just adds on to how much you've got to save for it. And we knew we wanted to just it was all paid for before we left. You can leave it to the day. Some things you need to book in advance, and I'll get to that in a moment, but I say at least have an itinerary of what you want to do, because there is so much New York has to offer. It's not as simple as you walk into the city and it has the basic popular things. There's so much it has to offer. I suggest using all platforms of social media to find things to do. If you're like planning this trip and you know you want it to be the best trip and you want to get the most out of it, because it's a lot of money and a long journey. Like, it's a lot of money to get there and stay there for however long you're staying. It's also a very long journey. You want to make sure that both of those things are worth it by getting as much done in that one trip, rather than going, okay, we got this done, but we'll have to come back and do another lot of things. Me and Donna planned out our trip in February of what we wanted to do, like not the food and stuff, but mainly the main activities we wanted to do during the trip. So we knew exactly what day we're doing it, what time, whereabouts it was. We looked at like what was in similar locations so we could do it all at once. And like, so we got everything we wanted done in this one trip. Now, don't get me wrong, I want to go back so bad. I loved it. I happily would live there if I could. However, I'm very happy with the fact that I know that I'm probably not going to go back for a long while. Like, as much as it's like a holiday I'd love to go, a destination I'd like to go back to, I have this feeling I'm not going to go back for quite a while, and I'm fine with that. Like, yes, I'm sad that I'm back home now, but I'm fine with the fact, like, I won't be going back for a while, because we got so much done. Like, everything we wanted to do and experience and see done, we got it. And I think having that all planned out made it very handy for us to get everything we wanted done. There was so much to do, and if we hadn't planned it out and we're just being spontaneous, it would have just been chaotic. We wouldn't have got everything we needed and wanted done. And like, trust me, when you see my Instagram, so not my Bookstagram one, but my normal Instagram, which is Amelia J Laing, which should also pop up here. I'm putting it in for these 3 videos. When you see that Instagram account and how many photos I have for New York, like, we got so much content, and my vlogs content would not have been, like, when I did those vlogs, it wouldn't have been a vlog or even a good enough vlog to split in half if we didn't have all that planned out. Like, spontaneity is good. And I think if you live in the city and you live there, like London for example, when it comes to London, I don't like being spontaneous myself because it's hectic, but you can be a bit more I can be more spontaneous in London or here, or like in my area, like, because I live here. I know what it is, I know where things are, I know roughly what to expect. I also know I can go back because I live in the country. Like, for example, if you live in New York, you can be a bit more spontaneous when it comes to go, okay, I'll go here this day, I don't really need to plan it, because you have other times to go to the other places. Like, if I was in New York for like a month, we probably would have been more spontaneous because we have that time, but we're only there for a week. So when you're going, this is a long-winded way of saying make sure you plan. But yeah, as mentioned, I definitely say have an itinerary, get an idea. Like, if you saw my Notion, I set everything up on what we were doing each day, just so I had to look at it. But also it helps, like, if you're like me and content creation is a thing, you want to have like the perfect outfits for the perfect days. Don't get me wrong, I planned outfits and changed them and also bought new tops for them, but I had an idea of what I wanted to wear. So yeah. Another thing I would say is definitely pack for the time of year you're going. So if you're going in winter, don't pack shorts and crop tops because I can guarantee you it will be freezing. If you're going in summer, pack shorts and tops, not jeans. But also, if you're watching this and you live in England, you'll know what I'm going to say here. Prepare for the rain, prepare that it might chuck it, because we were very lucky that majority of the week, sun, and I think it was, what day did we get Subway? Tuesday, there was a little bit of rain for a very brief period. I'd say half an hour it rained, and we were inside our hotel at that point. But then the only time it rained was Friday morning, and it was chucking it down. So we were very fortunate that we only got caught in the rain once, and I was on the way to the Empire State Building. The rest of the time it was good. Shoes wise, tips and tricks. I mean, if you can walk in sandals and do not find them uncomfortable, and do not get blisters in them, and do not get, when your feet get hot, you don't get like tired of walking them. Because if it's in a beach holiday, you're probably going to wear sandals, and then it's different. Like, don't get me wrong, in Barcelona, I wore sandals all weekend. It's New York's roads and paths are very different to like the nice kind of like tropical areas you go on holiday to. My favourite things to wear were my Adidas Gazelles or my Converses. My Converses I lived in. I will be honest with you, I wore my white Converses the majority of the week because they were just so comfy, easy to walk in, did not hurt my feet once, no blisters were made in those shoes. They were just comfortable and worked wonders is the word I'm thinking of. I also bought my Adidas Gazelles recently, my pink ones, and I love them. They're very comfortable. These are not the shoes' fault, but the other day when we went to the 9/11 Memorial, my feet were in a bit of agony in the back of my heel because I wore heels on Saturday night and it kind of like gave me a massive blister and tore the skin on my back of my heel, which made wearing them really difficult because the plaster I had on it got pulled up because I didn't have longer socks on. I had literally training socks that fell down, so the plaster got pushed up, and so it wasn't the shoes' fault because as soon as I put the shoes on, I had proper socks on. They were fine. So make sure you got shoes that you're going to be comfortable to wear for long periods of time whilst walking around New York City. New York is I would say it's not a fully walking city, but it's quite a bit of walking. You've got the subways, but you've got a lot of walking involved as well. So you've got to be comfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable by wearing something. So don't think during the day, like, I understand that want to dress up fancy and looking good whilst you're on a holiday in a city like that. Like, if you're in Paris, you're going to want to wear, like, heels or, like, cute little heels or shoes. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that, apart from, like, evening wear. And trust me, I hated having to put heels on for my evening wears anyway. I wore heels on Saturday night to the Dave & Buster's and to our rooftop bar. And then on Sunday, I wore heels to Hard Rock Cafe and the Top of the Rocks. And then on Thursday to the Broadway show and for drinks. So yeah, I dreaded wearing heels. I think the only day they did not hurt me was on Thursday night. I was actually quite comfortable in them. But otherwise, yeah, I don't recommend wearing heels. I will be honest with you. Like, on a day-to-day basis when you're going and doing a lot of walking, don't wear heels. They will kill your feet. There is a lot of walking. Other tips to think about is, I didn't do it, but Donna did it. She had an app, and I'll ask her what the app is called, and I'll pop it in here somewhere. But there's an app that helps you understand the subway. Use that to find out what subway train to get onto to get places, because, like, in the UK, I for a long time did not understand how to use the undergrounds, but I know how to use them now. Find it quite easy. We'll be honest with you, like, you've got the Northern Line, Jubilee Line. I really miss London now. I'm saying that I want to go to London so bad again. And I know how to use that, but the subway's confusing. They have letters, numbers, and I'm like, what? There's 1, 2, something, 4, 5, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's like A, C, D, and E, and I'm like, okay, can we just either do letters or do numbers? Why do we have two? It confused me a little bit. I didn't understand, but Donna said get on this one, get on that one. This is what it says to get on. We can get on that one. I'm like, okay. That app will tell you what to get on, and then you can kind of figure it out. And honestly, there is subway stations quite so many places. Like, and if you really look into it, you can use it. And this gets me onto, I think, my final proper tip. If I think of ones, I'll pop them up, or I'll say it when I'm giving you recommendations. But because some of them do link into the things I'm going to recommend you and not recommend you. Think about where you're going, or how much you're doing in the day, and what the weather is like. Because, and I will say this, because you can plan your trip to do less walking by getting the subway to one place, going to the one place, and then finding the next subway station to get to the next place. For our first few days, for our first few days in New York, we did a lot of walking. Like, I'll tell you, Tuesday we got the subway to Brooklyn to do Dumbo, to do Brooklyn Bridge, to do Pebble Beach, Brooklyn Heights, to go to the bookshop, and we walked everywhere. Once we got to Brooklyn to Dumbo in the morning, we walked everywhere, and then got the subway back to our hotel before we went to the summit. The weather was extremely hot. We spent a lot of time in the sun. By the end of the day, I was very tired, like so tired. When we went to the summit, I was like, I really don't want to be here because I'm so tired. But I had to like put the energy on. I was like, we're gonna be here. And then Donna felt very ill in the evening, and it's because our body was so worn out. We spent a lot of time in the sun walking everywhere. Now I know walking's good for you, and I know like good. I'll tell you something. My legs ached so much. By the end of the week, my body was like, okay, you're tired. My body was tired, and I could tell you that I was, because yesterday I slept most of my day, and I actually slept till 10 o'clock this morning, and I woke up at 5:30, then woke back up, and fell back to sleep. What was I? But yeah, don't think just because you're in the city and you want to see things, you have to walk everywhere. So this is why we say plan your trip before you're going. Figure out what you want to do, and then you can plan how to get there by using the subway, potentially, and then do like a 5-10 minute walk. Because the other, like on Sunday, we were going to do the Met Steps, and then we were like, but it's such a far walk from where we were, and it was hot. We were like, let's not do it. We'll do it on Friday when we're like doing the other things. And then we got the subway there, so much time, and then it was like a 10-minute walk. It was so worth it in the end. Like, our trip was like, I will say to you now, this was the best holiday I've ever had. Like, I haven't been on many. I haven't done many trips like some people have. Like, New York's my favourite trip I've ever been on. Like, all holidays I've ever been on, New York's up there. And the main reason is we planned it in advance. We planned to make sure that we both got what we wanted out of it. We got the best out of the trip because we both did things we did things that both of us wanted to do, and it was just the best experience of my life. And I will literally tell you, if you're going on a trip with your friends, make sure you're going to places that each of you want to go to, not just one of you wants to go to, so getting dragged along. So we're going to start with the ones not recommended, because I feel like, one, there's less, and two, we always start with the bad news and you get the good news after. That's just the best way to do it. So we're going to do the ones I would recommend. I wouldn't say there's many things I don't recommend, just because this was a dream holiday and everything we had planned was stuff we wanted to do, so I feel like majority of the stuff, I will say some of the things, if I recommend it, I will say mainly because of the photos. So if you're not here for taking photos and content, it might not be worth it to you, because you're just looking at something and going, okay, bye. However, for me, I would recommend because everything of how it happened to me. And so we're going to start with the big one. The big one I don't recommend, and this is something me and my friend both regretted doing, and I'll explain why. Now this might be controversial, and I can assure people who've been to New York, if you're watching this, you're like, why are you saying this? But I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in my vlog, but I'm saying it here. I do not recommend the summit. We chose to go to the summit over the edge. We were going to go to the edge, and then we're like, actually, let's go to the summit. We regretted that decision. We spent about 40 something minutes queuing to get in and to go through security. Now, I understand security, but when you go through security at an airport a lot quicker than we went through security to get into a building, that's a little bit scary. I think when we came through to the American side, I expected to get through that and it'd take forever. I know we landed in the evening, so it might be, I think that could be one of the reasons. But I expected security going through to be longer than it did to get through security in New York. I also expected that when we were coming back from New York to England at JFK for security to be longer. Now, for me, queuing to come do security in New York coming back was quick. Just to check my hand luggage through. I think I got through security each time from Gatwick to New York, from New York to our hotel, then from JFK to London, and back from Gatwick to leave Gatwick. All of that was quicker than waiting in the summit queue just to go up a load of flights to look at a view. Now, I understand why they do it, don't get me wrong. I have very much understanding of why they do it. Safety is key, and I'd rather you be safe and you do the security than you don't, and then something happens. I'm putting my life in their hands, so that security is important. However, it was extremely long. We had tickets booked. We would have tickets booked for 3 o'clock. We got there early, and we literally got there at like 20 to 3, quarter to 3. We didn't get in there till about 3:30, something to 4. Like, baffling. Like, it's at the same point like we might as well just paid on the door when we got in. And then we went through security, it took forever to get through. We got through one lot to get through, another had to wait in a queue, another lot queue, have a photo taken and stay in another queue. I was like, you joking me, right? And then we had to wait in another queue to get to the lift. Understandably, everyone wants to get in that lift, so it's not going to fit everyone in. But why was it so long? And this is not the reason I don't recommend it, because if I waited in that queue and had a great view and it looked great and got great content, great photos, and the view looked amazing, like, bearing in mind, I am so scared of heights, that for me to go to anything that's going to be on heights, it has to be worth it. Like, Top of the Rocks was worth it, and I'll get to that in a moment, because, like, and other ones were worth it, but this was not worth it. This view was not worth it. You got up there, there's no outside view. Like, it's all in glass. It all looked a bit like there was mirrors, and it made the outside look like I was watching a film, and it was like a screen, and the view was on a screen rather than outside. It didn't look as authentic as it would if we just went outside. It just didn't, and then it was just made out. When you look online and you get to put the tickets and everything, you see Instagram, it's all made out to look a lot better than it actually is. And I think that is why I would not recommend it. Like, you're not getting what's worth your money. You're not getting it. You're not getting that view that you're paying for. You're paying to get in there. Like, we paid £44 or something like that to get into it, and you don't get much out of it. And there's other things we paid similar or less money and got things from it, and I'll explain that in a bit. But no, I just don't recommend the summit. There was not much to it. There's no outside business. If you had, like, understandably, if you had the view inside where you have the mirrors around, but you also had an outside view where you could just look outside and look at the view, great. But why would I pay so much for that and we didn't go to the edge over this? We should have gone to the edge. I don't know from what it looked like from where we were on Friday, and also from what I've seen on social media, the edge just would have been better. So what I would say to you is, if you're looking to go between the summit and the edge, go to the edge, forget the summit, not worth it. My next one would be, and don't get me wrong, I really actually enjoyed going there, so I actually don't know if I'm actually going to put this in here. I'm actually not. My next one would be Dave & Buster's. I don't even know why I just suggested it. I think it was just like, it came up and I was like, you know what, that's would be a really handy place to go for food. But it's not even got that many good food options, I will be honest with you. And bearing in mind, I went for an option that had no cheese on the menu, because like a lot of stuff had cheese on it, and I'm pretty sure I'm dairy. I've got a lactose problem or something to do with dairy, and I shouldn't have. I ordered something. I ordered chips, and it was like and it had truffle sauce and stuff on it. Like, it's like, I can't really remember exactly what it was, and then there was cheese on it, but on the menu it didn't say cheese. Hence why I ordered it, because there's no cheese in this. And we weren't looking for like a full meal because we had landed, we had food on the plane, we were like not hungry enough to eat a full meal. So I just had the chips and I was like, I regretted it so much. Because I had cheese in it, so I didn't even eat half of it. I ate the bits I had, the cheese wasn't mainly on. And then when the cheese was mainly on, I left it. But like, I just wouldn't recommend it. It's not like the best. It's a bit, the whole dynamic in there just threw me off a little bit. Like, no. But I just thought it would be different because we don't have one in the UK. I was like, you know what, let's just try it. Why the hell not? The next one I say is the Magic Hour Rooftop. We booked it thinking it was going to be so great. We thought it was pink. We were dressed in pink for it. We were like so excited. This was like, we thought it was going to be a great view. It was going to be lovely and it was going to be so nice. We went there. There was no pink. It was like more yellow vibes. So we didn't get that memo. The view wasn't great. Like, it wasn't the greatest view. Now, don't get me wrong, the service there was lovely. Everyone who worked there was lovely. I'm not putting down the service there because it was such a nice like service for our first night, especially when I went in with the idea that people working there were going to be rude. They were like, that's what I went with the impression. No, they were lovely. And there was a really cute little photo opportunity, don't get me wrong, but they just, like, you go to a rooftop bar, especially in New York, expecting a good view of New York. You didn't really get a good view of New York, and it just, it kind of just took away from the idea. And I'll say, like, my friend's not a drinker. I do drink, but I can go without a drink. I don't need, I like to have a drink, you know, here and there. And it was our first night, so we were like, we're going to have a drink. The cocktails did not look great, so we ordered a vodka lime and lemonade. And it just didn't taste good. I've never had a drink in America because I was never legal when I went to Florida. So I never drunk in America to know what their drinks are like, but they are very strong. We went for a single vodka lime and lemonade. It wasn't a double, and it was very strong. So that's one thing I don't recommend. Another thing is, now I am actually going to get probably eaten alive for this in the Bookstop community, but the Ripped Bodice, it's a bookshop in Brooklyn. Now don't get me wrong, it was cute, it was very romance vibes, and I did enjoy it, I did love it. I wasn't in there for long. I honestly got a bit overwhelmed. It's small, I expected it to be bigger. It wasn't like as I expected from what I've seen on social media. It's small, it is cute. I do understand the hype, and I did buy a book from there, so, but it was a book I already read, but I bought it for another video that I'm going to be filming very soon, or actually going to start after I film this video. However, it's a cute bookshop, and it's a cute romance bookshop, and it was like very adorable, but I wouldn't recommend going unless you're like in the area around that specific area, because I don't mean if you're in Brooklyn, go. Because you're probably gonna go, if you're visiting New York for the first time, you're probably gonna go to Brooklyn to do Brooklyn Bridge. It is about a 40-something minute walk from there. No, it's not worth it to come from there. If you're like in that specific like road where it is, or you just stumble across it, then yeah, I recommend going in. But if you're not, I don't plan a trip out to go there out of it. Like, it was okay in some ways for us because we're going to Brooklyn and then we did some things. We also went to Primark and H&M on the way there. We had planned our trip around it, but it was like, I wouldn't recommend planning your whole trip around going there. Like, if you're in the area and you stumble across it, then I'd just say to your friends, hey, can we pop in? Don't make a whole journey of it. Like, I was meant to have like so many vlog clips for my vlog for that, and I just didn't. It just got a bit overwhelming, and I was tired and I was hot. It's just a lot. If you're looking to stay warm in the winter, maybe, because it's a long walk, but otherwise, I don't recommend it. Or if you're going to go there and you really want to go there, get the subway, it might be different. You might have a different experience. I'm not saying don't go in there. I just wouldn't highly recommend going there. But I did still like it in there, so I can't say too much because it's hypocritical. But I just don't recommend making a whole journey to get there for the sake of it. And then my final thing I wouldn't recommend, and it might be controversial, the whole world might hate me for saying this, but, and I'm not meaning the whole of this place, but just Central Park Zoo. Not Central Park itself, because that's beautiful and I'll get there, but Central Park Zoo, it's just not worth it. Like, it's just, I mean, we saw a grizzly bear, and it was the first time I've ever seen one. It was cute, and I saw penguins, and I love penguins, but I just think we went in there, and I mean, it was like £14, or was it $14? I can't really remember. so it wasn't like crazy expensive to go into a zoo. Like, we paid to go to the Barcelona Zoo just to use the toilets, and I think that was more expensive. However, I feel like I got more out of the Barcelona Zoo than I did in the Central Park Zoo. It just wasn't as I expected the zoo to be. I was like, okay. But at the same point, like, go if you want to go, if you want to see some cute animals, but I just wouldn't say it's the most thing I would say I recommend. So now we've done our not recommendations, we've got a long list of recommendations, so I'll get there in a moment and I'll explain why they're recommendations for me. Okay, so we are now on to what the things I'm recommending to you for New York for your trip, so you have the best trip ever. Some of them are going to be just because of the experience you get, some of them are going to be like for photo opportunities, so if you're going and you're like a content creator or you just want to get all the good photos and you want to see this person get good photos there, I recommend. We actually, like I said, we did so much, so this is just, I wouldn't say, it might not even be everything we did, but it's going to be like all the things that stick to mind that I definitely recommend to you, and some of the places I will tell you like the best times to go, because it just was perfect for us. I'm going to start with one thing that will always stay on top of my mind from New York, and it sounds so silly because you're not seeing any views of New York, but it was just something so different to what, like, I wouldn't have seen this anywhere else. I don't think it's very different to what you're going to get some other places, and it just stands out, and it's the Museum of Ice Cream. It sounds so baffling and random to say, but I will tell you something. Let me just get something from over here. I will say this place was incredible. There's so much to it. You pay to get in. I can't remember how much we paid for it. But we paid, let me have a look. I can actually probably tell you how much we paid each because I have it with the amounts written on my Notion. £44.37 each for this place. Now, sounds like a lot of money, but what you get from it, it's worth it. Like, we paid around that for the summit and got nothing. We went in there, you get taken through, you get given a sticker, and you have to choose a name for your ice cream name. I chose Kit Kat because my nickname for my best friend is Kit Kat, so I just went with that. And then you go in and you go through. I'm going to try not to give away too much. But then you get, like, at each station, you get an ice lolly or an ice cream, a free one, and you get it on each station. It's unlimited. You can go back and get more. You don't have to just get one of that station. You can go back and go, I want another one of this one. You can get as much as you want. So you literally could have, like, in one station, 3 ice creams, and then go to another one and get, like, 3 ice lollies, and then you could always, it's like refillable. You go up and up and up, and it's so much. And it's not even just that you're getting. There's activities. There's so much fun. Like, there's a slide you can go down. I didn't go down because I was scared, and I just was like, nope. The lift was cool though. Just took forever. But there's activities there was like a play area which I was pretty sure was meant for children. My camera's already running out of battery. It's brilliant. That's crazy how this is running out of battery, but when I vlogged a week it didn't run out of battery once to me, but it's fine. Anyway, it's just so much fun. Free ice cream. We even got like a little complimentary card that's for your star sign. So obviously I got Capricorn because I'm a Capricorn, and it tells you like what flavour you are, and it's just really cool. Like, this is a really cool. But back to what I was saying, the Museum of Ice Cream has so much. Like, even have a play area that I'm pretty sure for kids. They have like a ball pool. There's an adult side and a kid's side. I didn't go in it because I couldn't take my shoes off because I had Converses on, and I was like, this is going to be too much to take on and off, so I just didn't do it. I don't think it's just charging while I'm filming, so great, but it's fine. But it's just so much. You get free ice cream. Perfect. I'm going to stop talking about the Museum of Ice Cream because otherwise we'll be here all day and I've run out of battery. But that was one of my top recommendations. Another one is actual Central Park. Like, the park is beautiful. We didn't do everything. It's so big, and you go in and you kind of don't think you're in a city because it just looks so, it's quieter. It's so nice. It's just, there's so many areas to it, and there's like a fountain, there's like a bridge, and also if you're wanting the photos, there is some good photo opportunities at Central Park. There's a bridge which we found on the last day. That's a good photo opportunity. There's like a little area where there's like boats sailing past, as opposite a boathouse. photo opportunity and fountain. There's just so many photos in Central Park that are opportunities, and it's just so beautiful. It's good for a picnic. It's just good to sit and chat with friends. Like, if I lived in New York, that would be my thing of it, going, let's meet up. If I was on a date and I just wanted to have a sit down walking date, that would be where I say where to go. It's a beautiful place. Recommend it. Couldn't recommend it enough, because you can get so much down there and you can go as many times, it would not get boring. And it's a park. Like, another one is, and this is mainly for two things, friends and for photo opportunities, and it's Washington Square Park. It is beautiful. We sat on a bench for ages, and obviously I had sun cream on, and we were sitting there drinking a drink, talking, and I was getting attacked by flies. Like, attacked by flies. They just kept sticking to my legs. They wouldn't leave my legs alone, and I was like, please leave me alone. It was annoying, but that doesn't really affect the place, because it's beautiful. The benches area is beautiful, but when you see the fountain and it's on, I can't tell you enough how, one, the photo opportunities are incredible. Like, if I remember, I'll pop up a few of the photos we took here. They are so beautiful. I loved the photos there, and honestly, when I was going through which ones I really liked, because I only keep the ones I really like I want to post, not the ones that I don't want to post because I have too many of the same photos. But when I tell you, it was so hard to, like, really be ruthless and do that. It was. Also, if you're a Friends fan, that is where they filmed the intro for Friends. And I just loved it. It was so good. Enjoyed it. If I've got that wrong, though, I'm very sorry. Because it means that the Circle Line boat that takes you past the Statue of Liberty, like right close to it. There's a few of these that take you different places, but it was so worth it. Like, I don't think I'd have like seen the Statue of Liberty just by going to the Statue of Liberty, but actually going on this boat past it, you got to see right up on it, and you also got like learn a history of it. I'm not going to tell you the story of what we learned, because that is for you to go and find out when you go to New York. Get on this boat, they will give you a history lesson on the Statue of Liberty, but not just that, about a lot of the areas around what you go past, like Brooklyn Bridge and stuff like that, and the Manhattan Bridge. You learn a lot of history on that boat, and honestly I felt like it was the best thing. I'm not a history nerd. Like, I didn't love history. Actually, I preferred it to geography, but I did geography GCSE, don't know why. But this made me go, I really wish I actually was more interested in history, because I actually learnt a lot and actually really enjoyed it. And I'm like, I want to learn about history. Do I go back to uni and do that? I won't, don't worry. But another thing I would say is Brooklyn Bridge. It sounds so stereotypical because everyone probably would say this, but it was just beautiful to see. I think I went up with the expectations that there was going to be nowhere for us to walk, and that's in my head. Was like, in my head I was going, how are we going to get there? Like, how are we going to take photos? There's going to be cars. And I realised there's a section for just pedestrian walking, which I should know, because it's where Steve and Miranda meet in the film when they're going through a little bit of a bad place. And they're thinking about splitting up because Steve cheated. So, really good for photos as well. We got some great photos at Brooklyn Bridge. I got like 3 lots of like different photos, and I got 2 Instagram posts for that, so I'm very excited to post them. Next, I would say Dumbo, early. Now, if you know of Dumbo is one of those popular photo places, popular spots for the photos. It's a beautiful place for photos, like the best photos we took. I'm so happy with them, and we were like so excited for it. This is one of the things Donna was so excited to do. One thing I would suggest, and maybe me suggesting this is going to ruin it for everyone, because if everyone watches this video, they're going to all learn it, but go to Dumbo early. Like, when we say early, I mean early. We woke up at 6. We left the hotel at like 7:15 in the morning to go to Dumbo. And we got that perfect time, and there was barely anyone there. Like, there was, in our photos, you'll see no one in the background, because we got there at a time when there was a few people there taking photos, but like very, very, very minimal amount of people, which you wouldn't have got if you went early. And then there'll be a lot of, if you went later even, you'll be waiting around till they move, and it would just be hectic, and it will waste a lot of your time to do that. Like, we got so much content that day because we got there early, our places early, and like it was just perfect. And I'm so happy we did it that time. So I definitely recommend early. The earlier you go, the better. So wake up early. I know it means losing sleep, but wake up early. It's worth it. We had an earlier night the night before, so we could wake up early that day. And then we did everything else that day. That day. It was so much worth it. So much worth it. So worth it. And I'll try and pop the photos whilst I'm talking as well. Another thing I would recommend to do, and I'm going to give you my like big tips on this place because it really annoyed me when I saw some people doing this, but the 9/11 memorial, I know it's very hard. It is a very emotional and educational visit. It isn't something to go in if you don't care. It's also not the best place to go if you're gonna laugh about it because it's not funny, and I think anyone who went in there would not laugh about it. It isn't funny, but it's so educational, it's so emotional. I cried a few times and I knew I was going to, but I did. And one thing I would say, tip and trick, do not film anything in there, please. I say this, it really annoyed me when I saw people get and do not take pictures. I understand, like, everywhere's a content thing. If I go to other museums, I will take videos and photos and stuff in there. Get it? This was one place I just don't think you should. It isn't a place about, it's not something to it's not a glorified thing. It's not a happy memorial. It's not a happy museum. This is a tragic incident that happened in 2001, and I'm just like, when I was that age, I remember it happening. I remember the day it happened, and I was 5, and I'm like, why are you taking pictures of this? This is not something to share on social media. It's not something to be amazed about. This is horrific. What happened was one of the saddest things that happened. I don't know why it bothered me so much, because I just doesn't seem like the right place to take photos. And I know I shouldn't be saying that and shouting about that because everyone has their own opinion on this, but that's my opinion and I'm saying it. I just didn't like it. But I do recommend the 9/11 memorial because it's so educational. You learn so much and you just get so much. I just think it's so important as well, just to go and find out like the history of what happened. Like, obviously you're not going to find fully exactly like why it happened, but you'll find out what exactly happened at the steps by steps. The next one I'd say is the friend's apartment, and I'm going to put friend's apartment and Carrie Bradshaw's apartment door in the two because they're in similar areas. They're very close together. This is for photo opportunities, so if you're like not bothered about photo opportunities, may not be the best thing to do. I think going to the friend's apartment would have been great sounds really sad, when Matthew Perry passed away, because you'll see the memorial for him there. But I just think it's iconic if you like those two shows, Sex and the City and Friends, because it's just iconic. You'll be like, that's where they filmed it. But like, it's also really great photo opportunities. I actually love the photos I got both at Carrie's door and at the friend's apartment because they were just so cool. And this is so nice, and the sun was shining. One thing I say about Carrie's door is it does have like a metal chain on the door to stop people from going on the steps, which, fair enough, fine. So if you're like someone who's gonna get really annoyed about that in the photo, maybe not the best place to go. But I just felt like I was because I spent the whole holiday thinking I'm Carrie Bradshaw, I'm just going to be Carrie Bradshaw in New York, and it just made me feel so happy. At first I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about getting a photo here, but I'm so happy I did because it's worth it. Another thing is, and it's the Colour Factory. The Colour Factory is another, it's not like the Museum of Ice Cream, but you get, there's things you get there, and you get like this card that you put your name and email in, and then it's this QR code, and then you put, there's like cameras, and literally we didn't have to take any of our own pictures on our phones because we just had the card, and you put the thing and then it took photos for you, which is really cool. And you went round and there was so many different colour opportunities. We had a silent disco at like 9 in the morning, for a silent disco. It sounds very bizarre, but you got so much from it. You got sweets, you got a fortune cookie. It was really fun, and it was a really good experience. I really enjoyed, and I definitely think you should go if you're interested. We got this little freebie here, and I love it. I can't remember how much this cost. If I wasn't running out of battery, I'd have a look, but I'm really cautious that my camera is going to die on me, and I don't want it to die on me in the middle of doing this. The Top of the Rocks, I definitely recommend for sunset. We actually didn't really think we booked for sunset because it was meant to be at 9:30 and we got it for like 8. but actually we got sunset whilst up there, and it's beautiful because you see the whole of sunset going down on the whole of New York, and it is beautiful. Now this was the first place we went to that was facing my fear of heights, so I have a massive fear of heights, and I don't regret it. Like, it actually helped me face my fear. I was so proud of myself. I think it's just beautiful, and for sunset it's just gorgeous. If I remember again, I'll put a picture here, but if you haven't watched my vlogs, you would have seen it on my vlogs. You should have seen it, I think. I haven't edited it yet, so I can't remember if I got a clip of it, but you should have seen it for my vlog. The next one is Empire State of Mind. No, that's a song. Empire State Building. The Empire State Building, going to the top of that. We went down on our last morning, and it was kind of like bittersweet because we could see a whole of New York City from the top of the Empire State Building. Like, it was just gorgeous. It was so beautiful, and it really hit me how much I loved the city. Like, I had felt that whole week. Like, I genuinely felt like I was at home the whole week, but like, it was just beautiful. Next one, it sounds very, very obvious to do in New York when you're going there, especially when you're a musical fan like me. And if you have watched my vlogs before I started becoming a book channel, you would have seen in my vlogs I went to a lot of West End shows, and I still do. But I would say a Broadway show is up there with one of the most things I would recommend, because it is similar to watching a West End show in London. I will be honest with you. It is. I remember when I was like, oh, but why are you going? I remember seeing someone at school or college were going to see Wicked, but they went all the way to New York to see it, and I was like, sorry, why don't you just go to London? And someone was like, because it's Broadway, it's better than West End. And I went, and don't get me wrong, loved the Broadway show. But I think if they were to do the show we went to see, which was Chicago, in London, it would be quite similar. I think because if I went to a show we'd have in London as well, in New York, then maybe I'd see a difference. But I just loved it. It just felt amazing. It just felt like I was at home. I dressed up. I just felt so happy. Went to Chicago. I was here and I actually got to see Jinx Monsoon in Chicago, which was amazing. Jinx Monsoon is from RuPaul's Drag Race, so I was very excited when I saw her come on stage. I was like, oh my god. And it was like our second to last show as well, which was like even better. I just loved it. It was so good, so worth it. And the only thing is they give these programs for free, when in England you have to pay for programs, but you had to pay for, if you wanted to get like the one with all the photos, you had to pay for that. And I was tempted, but I didn't, and I'm kind of happy I didn't, because I buy them, and don't get me wrong, I love them, but they sit in a box forever. Like, I've got like 3 Heathers programs, they're sitting in my box, because I don't actually look at them again for like years, and then until I go to do a clear out, I go, oh, and then I'll sit and look through them, I'll be like, oh, I remember that. But yeah, I went to see Chicago. And then on the same night, which I definitely recommend this for a good view, for a good rooftop, we only did 2 rooftop bars at the end. We went to do 3, but we cancelled one of them, so we went to this one, which is the Interlude, and it's in like a hotel, so it was very confusing to find, but it's in a hotel, and oh my god, the view was perfect. It was a beautiful view, absolutely loved it, and it was just such a good place to go to for our last night in New York. And again, what I'm going to try and do is, when I talk about these places, pop photos up from the places, so when I get to editing this, we'll see if I remember. But I just think it was perfect. It's like a perfect view to look at for your last night in New York. There's certain things I definitely recommend. If you're a lover of musicals like me, leave the Broadway show to your last night, because honestly, if you have that to look forward to the end of the week, if you've not enjoyed anything else from that trip, you know you've got that to come. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed everything from the trip, so it just made the highlight of the trip. It just made it 10 times better. But yeah, and the Interlude was beautiful for the last night. Saw a beautiful view at night of New York City, because like seeing Summit we did in the middle of the day, afternoon. Empire State we did in the morning, Top of the Rocks we did at night, but seeing the view at night again from the top of the rooftop, well, great. And then finally, 2 things for your Gossip Girl fan, then you'll get this, is Grand Central Station and the Met Steps. We didn't go in the Met, we just went to the Met, we just did the Met Steps. Now, obviously, you could be excited about the Met Steps if you love the Met Gala, but I didn't care about that. I'm a Gospel Girl fan, heart and heart. And sitting on those steps just made me feel like Blair Waldorf on lunch break for one day. Like, it was so good. It just felt like fun, and I enjoyed it, and I loved it. I loved every minute of being on those steps. I was just like, yeah. I definitely would say I wasn't feeling my 100% on Friday, so I think that was one thing. If I was feeling great, I'd have enjoyed it a lot more. And it was hot, have your fan on you, but loved it. And then Grand Central Station. If you know, you know. I got the TikTok that I wanted to do, and it's on my TikTok now, so I'll try and pop it here or at the end of the video, where I walked down the stairs as Serena Van was like returning to New York, and I was so happy with that. I love it. So go check out my TikTok, because I probably won't put it in the video because copyright. So go check it out on my TikTok. But yeah, finally I'll say, before we get to the end of this video, is the boathouse at Central Park. Do it for a final treat. It is a little bit expensive, but it's not as expensive as I expected. It's really good pricing. It's also really what you get. The service you get is amazing, and it's just so nice. And for a final like treat for your holiday, it was amazing. So yeah. Anyway, in that being said, I'm going to finish there because I feel like I've rambled on. This video is probably going to be like an hour long or 40 minutes long, who knows. But if you did enjoy this video and you did enjoy these tips and tricks and recommendations and non-recommendations, then give this video a thumbs up. Please comment down below what you would recommend to do in New York, and like any tips and tricks you have for others in New York, and put them down in below. And if you're going to New York, I hope you have a great time, and also let me know down below if you're going, because I'd love to find out when you're going. It'll be great. We can have a conversation about it. And yeah, without further ado, I'm going to end that here. If you did enjoy this content, then please give it a thumbs up, please comment down below, please subscribe, and I will see you again on Saturday with my reading wrap up for the month. Bye.